So, good evening. I'm back again. Going to do two more albums tonight, and we'll get straight in. First one tonight is Style Council, our favourite shop. Paul Weller, of course. Paul Weller has had an amazing career, really, hasn't he? You know, with the Jam, then Style Council, and then for the last, how long? 25 years, he's had a really good solo career as well. Not that I actually don't know much of that solo stuff, to be honest, but still very impressive. Um, so the Style Council were, the band obviously that he formed after the Jam. A lot of Jam fans found the Style Council very hard to take. He lost a lot of people along the way. I think, you know, this kind of very slick look and, the kind of Euro pop stroke jazz thing that the Style Council were into didn't suit the Jam aficionado particularly. And I have to say myself, I was very dubious about it initially, but then there's some great songs in the Style Council catalogue. That introducing the Style Council EP was really good. Long Hot Summer, Speak Like a Child is on that, I think. There's some really good stuff. And then there was the Cafe Blue album, which is a bit patchy, some good stuff on it, but it's not a great album, I would say. And then Our Favorite Shop. And when you put it on, I remember my first time listening to this album and thinking it was Cafe Blue Part 2, but then actually, because the sound is quite similar, very piano influenced, of course, Mick Talbot, um, featured very prominently in the music arrangements. Um, but I remember thinking, yeah, it's kind of Cafe Blue Part 2, but actually it's much stronger, much, much stronger. And the interesting thing about this album, I suppose, is that he kind of combined that slick jazzy pop thing with very, very punchy lyrics. And see if I can get a track listing here. Was the best known track on it is Walls Come Tumbling Down. Am I right in thinking that he did a cracking version of that on the Live Aid show? I think they did. Yeah, but there's some really good tracks on it, and as I say, it's an interesting combination of smooth music with quite tough lyrics. He was still very socially aware, and like still talking about the Thatcher era, aren't you? So you're still saying the stuff, but going back to the thing about the Jam were that angry young punk kind of thing, and he actually was young. I was thinking that, we'll see the album coming up after this one. Some of the people involved in the new wave period, it was supposed to be an angry young man thing, but a lot of people weren't that young actually, and some people just maybe surfed that wave really into the charts. But Weller was definitely the real deal. I don't know the thing about, like, even though I do like this album and it's really good and it's worth having a listen. The thing though about Image, I mean, to so kind of easily move into that image from the Jam, I don't know. It kind of almost, it kind of feels like it's contrived. Kevin Rowland has done the same thing, and you kind of feel like, well, if this image is contrived, was the previous image just kind of an image? I don't know. So I have my question marks about the Style Council, but the music is very good, I have to say. Anyway, that's the Style Council. Oh yeah, I took this down. Oops. That's an album I was listening to earlier. Let's Active, really good band, but that's not one that was chosen, so I can't talk about it. This is the next one. Boomtown Rats, The Fine Art of Surfacing. It was their third album, and a very fine album it is too. It's got three great kind of hits on it. Diamond Smiles, Someone's Looking at You, and of course, I Don't Like Mondays. Uh, people talk about great intros, great opening bits of songs, and you'd hear Oh Well by Fleetwood Mac, we mentioned, Another Girl, Another Planet by The Only Ones, and Alternative Ulster by Stiff Little Fingers. I'll tell you, this gets forgotten about because it's a piano intro, but the Don't Like Monday's intro is just amazing. Johnny Fingers. A friend of mine has it as his ringtone, and he's had it as his ringtone for donkey's years. And every time his phone rings, I say, no, don't answer it. Let that play out, because it's just an amazing piece of music. That introduction to I Don't Like Mondays. There was a documentary done recently by Billy McGrath about the Rats, and it really positioned the Rats correctly, I think, in terms of their importance in that whole new wave period. Geldof, of course, is one of those people who was a bit older. He was like in his mid-20s as against being a kid, and in a way, like if you listen to the first Boomtown Rats album, 1977, just called the Boomtown Rats, it's got as much to do with Bruce Springsteen as it does to do with the Sex Pistols, really. I mean, the great track from that is Joey's on the Street Again. Yeah, Joey's on the Street. And yeah, it's like Springsteen all the way, really, but it's a very good album. Tonic for the Troops then had some great hits on it. This is a really fine album, apart from the hits. That whole first side is really good. After Someone's Looking at You and Diamond Smiles, there's Windshield Factor -0, Having My Picture Taken, and Sleep. All really good tracks. And the album finishes with a great song called When the Night Comes, which could have been a hit single as well, but I suppose you can only release so many. I think it's really worth checking out. The Boomtown Rats catalogue is quite impressive, actually. I'm not sure about what's that one called? God, Mondo Bongo or something like that. I never heard that one. But Five Deep and In the Long Grass are both very good albums as well, especially In the Long Grass, their last album, which was a commercial disaster. I never didn't, nothing worked from it. They thought this features in the documentary. Geldof thought they had a hit on their hands with the song Dave, which is one of the best songs that they ever wrote, that they ever did, and nothing happened. It didn't go anywhere. Awful pity. And that was the end of the road for the Rats. There was other stuff going on as well. Geldof had become such a huge figure himself and all that. Kind of like overwhelmed the Rats, really, as a personality. And he's a polarizing personality, but I think he's a good guy, really. He's an arsehole as well, as he would no doubt agree, but he's a good guy, I think. Anyway, wrote some great songs and made some great music, and continues to do so. Actually, I did listen to their new album, which I can't remember the title of. I can't remember what it's called. No, it's not coming to me. Yeah, it's on Spotify. You should listen to that as well. It is good. I must go back to it actually because I only gave it the one listen so far, but I was impressed with it. But this Fine Art Surfacing, actually, it could, it's probably their best album. This, now that I think about it, Tonic for the Troops probably has more hit singles on it. In the Long Grass is kind of more mature, I suppose, and better arrangements, more kind of elaborate arrangements and all that. But I would say, on balance, this is probably their strongest album. Alright, so I'm gonna leave it at that. I suppose since I I had it in my hand, I should just mention, in case people are mystified by this, Let's Active Cyprus. This is a band that Mitch Easter and um, Faye Hunter and Sarah Romweber, I think they're from North Carolina. Mitch Easter became better known actually because of his association with REM. He produced a couple of early REM albums, and yeah, he had his own band, Let's Active, and this is a very good album. This is one of my favorite albums from that time. This was released in '84, so around the same time as REM's second album. And there's a great track on this. You check it out on YouTube called Blue Line. I really like that. But there's a lot of good songs on it. But anyway, that's a little bonus extra album tonight. Three for the price of two. You're so lucky. Okay, so tonight's albums, I mean, I've talked about some absolutely incredible albums. Neither of tonight's albums are incredible albums, but both of them are solid albums. It's Fine Artist Surfacing is really good, and Our Favorite Shop by the Style Council is really good too. But not kind of like absolutely essential stuff, but some good material there. All right, take care of yourselves.